Okay, we're back. When I left off, I was talking about, you know, um, you have to keep on believing in God. You have to keep having faith that, God is going to do. He's going to perform what it is He's promised. But if you stop hoping when things look hopeless, then your God-given faith will lie dormant within you. A man comes home and very excitedly tells his wife to get the skillet ready. He is going fishing. Since she has gone through this before, she asks, "What makes you believe that you will catch fish this time? What got your hope up?" He proceeds to relate how the State Fishery Service has just stocked a local lake with thousands of fish, and he and his friend are on their way to catch their limit. Off he goes with his hope high, not only believing that there are fish in the lake, but actually knowing it. In a few hours, a very dejected husband returns without any fish. "They were catching fish all around me. I did everything I knew to do, changed lures, even traded poles with my friend. He caught one, but I didn't. I gave up and came home, and I'm not going back." This is a simple illustration of what happens to people's faith. This man allowed his hope to be dashed because he was not pulling out fish as quickly as the others. He yet had his faith and knowledge, but lost his hope, his expectancy. Even though he still believed that the fish were in the lake and they could be caught, he received not the thing he desired, because he allowed himself to become discouraged and thus lost his hope. There's people, I know of people that are like that. That, because something doesn't happen right away, and because the thing that the Lord has promised them doesn't come to pass right when they think it should, they, give up, and they lose not only their faith, but they lose their hope. And not having hope, they don't have anything, because their faith isn't doing anything. Hope is almost like the action, because it's like it says in the Word of God, it says faith without works is dead. So basically, faith without hope is dead. Because if you don't have the expectant hope that something is going to happen, then you can't have the faith to believe that it's going to happen, can you?
No, you can't.
Because it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for." If there is no hoping, there is no receiving. So if you're not hoping that you're going to receive whatever it is the Lord has promised you, you're not going to receive it. Because your faith is going to end up lying dormant on the inside of you. And though you may have you may be like the disciples. The disciples had faith, but like Jesus told them, "Oh, ye of little faith." They had little faith to believe that, that the storm could be calmed. And then Jesus stepped out on the bow of the boat and calmed the storm, and they were still standing there questioning, as who is this? Who is this that not only can he lay hands on the sick and they recover, not only can he heal blinded eyes. Not only can he cast out demons, but the winds and the sea obey him, you know. So, you know, we have to have that expectant hope that even though we don't have what we expect to have, even though we don't get what the Lord has promised us, we have to have that expecting hope that it's going to happen as if it's going to happen tomorrow. Is, you know, basically what the series is talking about, you know. Mary came down with a fever. Slight at first, each day it rose a little higher. She was a spirit-filled believer. She had her praying friends pray, and she prayed. She quoted all of the scriptures that applied to healing. After a few days, she went to the doctor believing, even confident, that he would find nothing, but he did. He said that she would have to have surgery immediately. Up to this point, she had kept her hope, but the doctor's ominous diagnosis shattered her hope. She still had faith, but with hope dead, her faith had nothing to feed. She will be very reluctant ever to try to put her faith to work in the area of healing again. You know, when a person is believing for something, and they believe and believe and believe and believe and believe that it's going to happen, that, you know, like this example here, you know, healing, and a person doesn't get their healing and they have to go and have the surgery, or they save and have to go through chemo, or, you know, whatever it is. You know, the next time it comes up that healing is the question, they question as to if it's going to happen, because they didn't get it. It's hard for them to believe that, you know, it can ever be done, because you know, and I think that's why a lot of people don't believe in divine healing like the Bible teaches, is because maybe they believed for someone to be healed, or they was believing for themselves to be healed and never received it, you know, and ended up having to, you know, maybe something else come up on them, that they had to have a surgery, or that they had to, you know, whatever it was they had to, you know, had to be done, because they didn't receive the healing that they was looking for. You know, they're very reluctant to believe and to have faith that can happen. But, you know, I know for a fact that we can walk in divine health, because I have had a healing in my body. I am not going to go into the details of that right now, but one day I will. But, you know, and it was back in 2003. And so, you know, I mean, and I wasn't even a Christian. You know, I wasn't even believing in anything. I'd been raised up in church, but I hadn't, you know, I was basically going through the motions. I wasn't living it for myself. And, but Arnold's mom prayed for me and was bringing prayer cloths to me. And I know I had to have a surgery, and I had to go through chemo, and I had to go through, you know, all this junk. But, you know, I believe deep down in my heart of hearts that God healed me, because, I mean, not everybody, you know, goes through a surgery and has their tumor taken out and then go through chemo and it not come back up on them. I haven't had any more problems with that, have I?
No.
So, you know, I mean, it's the thing of, you know, how bad do you want it? You know, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get it? You know, and there's times that it's going to take a lot. You know, it could take you having to go through the surgery. for the Lord to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, because, you know, you've tried the doctors, but let me do it, you know. A little lady of the Bible had a sick daughter. She had heard about Jesus and went to see and hear him with intense hope. She believed her daughter could be delivered. When she arrived, she could not get beyond the Lord's disciples, who tried to turn her away. But she had come with high hope, believing that Jesus could help her. Finally, the weary disciples, who could not prevail on her to leave, asked Jesus to send her away. Now her hope was really heightened, because she was before the great healer, and she had his attention. But wait, what did she hear him say? She expected to hear, "Thy faith has saved your daughter." But no, her stunned ears heard the words, "It is not right to take the children's bread and give it to the dogs." He actually turned her away, using the common term of that day for Syrophoenicians. A rude awakening, you say, and one to devastate hope. Most people, like Mary, would have lost their hope at this point and turned dejectedly away. This Syrophoenician lady said, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table." She refused to permit her great hope to be dashed. She came expectantly, intent on receiving, and she did, because her hope, based on her faith, won out. She could have gone away empty, without receiving the healing for her daughter, yet believing, having faith that Jesus could have healed her daughter if he had wanted to. Her faith that Jesus was a healer would have still been intact, but she would have lost her hope, and in losing her hope, her faith would have stayed dormant. You know, so even though he turned her away by saying, "Don't take the bread from the children and give it to the dogs," she turned around and said, "Yes, but even dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table." She was telling Jesus, "I don't care what you say." She was telling the disciples, "I don't care what you say. I'm going to get the healing that my daughter needs. My daughter is going to get her healing because I have come expecting that healing.
And even if it just takes a splash over, I'm going to
get
healing.
it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get it." So, you know, don't let your hope be dashed by just, you know, people saying, I'm going to say stupid things out of their mouths. Because the very thing that you're thinking and that you are expecting from God, and the very time that you don't get it, keep pushing, keep pressing, keep praying, keep believing, keep speaking the positive out of your mouth. Because when you're at the threshold of giving up or continue forward, because if you ever give up, that could be the next step you take, could end up being could determine if you get or lose what it is you have been promised. Because who's to say that if you continue going, continue pressing, and continue pushing forward, that what you've been believing and what you've been promised isn't going to come? So you can't let people's words basically like intimidate you into losing what it is that God has promised you. You know, you can't do that. You have to keep going.